Thank you so much. Thanks everyone for being here. So today, like it says, we're going to be talking about SEO strategies for your dumpster rental business. This is something that, in my experience, is probably one of the most misunderstood parts of any business. Not just marketing, but SEO. There is a ton of misinformation out there about what you should be doing, what you can be doing, what you shouldn't be doing. And unfortunately, that creates kind of the ability for companies to come in and take advantage of that knowledge. And I see it all the time. And so hopefully the stuff that I'm going to give you today is going to give you some insight into what's real, what's not real, and then leave you with some things that you can do for your business that are going to really help out your visibility in your SEO. So the agenda, defining terms. I'm going to go over a few terms that I will use throughout the presentation so you guys understand what I'm talking about. We'll talk about types of SEO. There's multiple different types, and depending on where you're at with your business, some can be relevant and some may not be at all. 3 strategies. We're going to walk through 3 strategies for your business. These are going to be SEO strategies that you can use. They're free. They're very impactful for your business, and a lot of companies overlook these strategies. AI and SEO. Thank you to Joe for this one. Him and I were chatting last night, and he asked me about AI and SEO, and I've heard a few other people bring up, like, what is AI SEO? How do I use that for my business? So I did create a few slides on that so that I can cover what it is, how to get ranked with AI, and come up in some of those searches. At the end, I have a free SEO checklist for you, and then we also do have an SEO playbook that you can grab from us, either download it from our website, or Kelsey has a box that we printed out of those playbooks. That playbook actually goes in a lot more depth than I'm going to go today and is fantastic, so be sure to grab one of those. So defining terms. Keyword, I think most people have heard about a keyword, but a keyword is just what you type into Google when you're searching for anything. It's a pretty simple thing, but it's also more relevant to organic SEO than it is to local SEO. Backlinks. So a backlink is a link from another site that is pointing to you. Backlinks are one of the biggest parts of SEO, and the easiest way to think about it is it's more like getting a thumbs up from other companies. The more thumbs up you get, the more Google is going to trust you. And SEO is all about trust. That's really what you're going for. Is Google refers you when you're coming up in their search results. It's basically like them referring you as, hey, here's who we're recommending that you go to get that knowledge. Well, in order to get that referral, Google has to trust you. The more backlinks you have, the more thumbs up, the more trust, the more likely you're going to come up. Directory listings. These are important for local SEO. Local SEO is when you're coming up for local searches or even in Google Maps. Directory listings, usually the way that I explain this is when I was a kid, there used to be this thing called phone book or the yellow pages. A lot of people don't know what that is anymore, and I have to explain that. But when you wanted to look up a business, you had to grab that book, or like order a pizza, anything you want to do. You had to grab that book and flip through it forever to try to find that business, and then there was their information. You could call them, you could order your pizza. If you lost that book, there was no way to get a hold of anyone. You were toast. So that's what directory listings are. Yellow pages still exist today. It's just online now. And what those are is the more of those you have, those are, again, trust votes. Those are up votes. They make you more trusted by Google because it's your business information across all of these sites like Yellow Pages, Facebook, Google Business Profile, Yelp. All of those are directory listings. Now, one thing about these is there are thousands of directories out there that you can get listed on. That doesn't mean that all of those are good. For the most part, there's about 50 to 100 that are really high quality. You want to be on those. The rest of them you want to be very cautious of. They may not be super beneficial, and bad directories can hurt your business. Just like good things can be thumbs up, there are also thumbs down. So you want to be careful with those. Don't just go out and go to someone and have them do like 1,000 of you for like $100 and think that's great. That's usually pretty bad. Domain authority. So domain authority is not actually a Google score. It was created by SEO software. One of the big ones is SEMrush or Ahrefs, two of the biggest SEO softwares in the game. What domain authority is it tells you how impactful or trusted your website is in Google's eyes. And it takes a look at a lot of different ranking factors, and then it comes up with a score on a scale of 0 to 100. And depending on where you're at on that is how easy it's going to be for you to rank in the search engines. Now, there's over 280 ranking factors that Google looks at when it's ranking your website. Most people know about 5 to 10 of those, and they focus on those 5 to 10. But there are hundreds, 280 that we know about. Google doesn't tell us what any of them are. We usually have to guess. So on-page SEO, this is tweaking your website content so that Google understands who you are and what you're doing. It sounds simple, but I see a lot of people getting it more wrong than right. And the reason why is if you fill it with too much information or try to stuff too many keywords in there, Google will be confused and it'll move on to someone else. So you want to keep it simple. And that's actually important for AI search too. AI likes it really simple, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But on-page SEO is basically just optimizing your website so that Google can quickly read it, understand who you are, what you do, and where you belong. Local SEO. Local SEO is a big one. Local SEO is what everyone here wants to rank for. That is huge. And the directory listings and the on-page SEO and then reviews are going to be your biggest track to ranking for local SEO. But local SEO is primarily focused on like the Google Maps. Like when you do a search for dumpster rental near me, the first thing that comes up is a map. And on there is going to show your business. That's local SEO. Everything below that that's listed normally, that's organic SEO. That's a different type of SEO. We're going to focus on local SEO. Local SEO is easier, it's less expensive, and it's more beneficial for your business. So there's 3 types of SEO and what they actually do. So the very first one, this is harmful SEO. This one I see all the time. It's an SEO company that people will work with, and they're charging you $200 to $500 a month for SEO. Generally, they are on some sort of third-party website like Fiverr or Freelancer or something like that that you found this company. You're working with them and you're doing that. The problem with it is they're also using really, really poor backlinks. So really poor backlinks, when Google views those backlinks, those are basically downvotes because those aren't from really good websites. They're either brand new websites that have 0 domain authority, or they've been around for a long time, but they're really spammy. They're full of really spammy content, and they're just putting you on there because it's cheap and easy. So when you do stuff like that, you're not getting your website thumbs up, you're not building trust, you're actually doing the opposite. So you have to be really, really cautious of that harmful SEO. It looks appealing because of the price tag, but in the long run, it'll hurt you, and then eventually Google will stop showing you in the search results if you get too many bad backlinks. So the mid-tier SEO, this starts around $1,500 to $3,500 a month. So these are real backlinks from really relevant sites, really good blogs, relevant blogs to your industry that have been around for years. They get tens of thousands of hits per month, stuff like that. These are not cheap. Not every business needs SEO. I think this is something that needs to be said too, is not every single business needs SEO. It's beneficial if you're in a really competitive market. It can be very beneficial. However, if you're in a smaller market and there's maybe 2, 3, 4 competitors, and those competitors have a poor Google business profile with maybe 10 to 15 reviews, you can own that market by getting 16 reviews. And you don't really have to spend a ton of money on SEO. High-end SEO starts at about $4,000 and goes up to $100,000 plus. That's for corporate companies. That is high-end SEO. usually national SEO. You're doing it either national or even global. Now, the reason why some people would want to go with mid-tier SEO for like a dumpster rental company is depending on your goals. What are you looking to do with your business? Is this your kind of 9 to 5 where you just enjoy it and you're going to carry this on for 20 years and that's what your goal is? And that's fantastic. You may not need to do SEO either. Or are you looking to build your business up so that you can sell it in 5 years, maybe 10 years? If you want to sell it and that's kind of your goal and you want to be able to exit and buy a place in Hawaii or wherever it is you want to go, SEO is going to help you get there really fast. When someone's looking to buy your business, one of the things that they look at is the organic traffic. Organic traffic is free business. And it's kind of similar to if you own a rental property, a house, and you want to rent that house out, where are you going to list it? Well, most people will be like, well, I'll go with like Airbnb or VRBO. And it's like, well, why would you do that? Well, because they have tons of traffic. It's going to be really easy to list it. Like, exactly. You wouldn't list it on a site that gets no traffic, just like people don't want to buy a business that doesn't have a lot of SEO and organic traffic. So those are some of the tiers of SEO that you want to be aware of. Now the strategy. I'm going to go through 3 strategies here, and these are all free strategies that you can do. There's a reason why I'm starting number 1 with reviews. Reviews have the biggest impact to your local visibility than anything else that you could do for your business. By far. You could do all of the SEO, you can do all the other stuff, but reviews are what's going to get you there. Now, reviews are not hard to get, but they do take a little bit of work. You need to ask every customer. At the end of the job, ask every customer for the review. You can text, you can email, you can talk to them there in person. It's pretty easy to do, but ask. And that's the one thing everyone's always like, Tim, how do I get more reviews? It's like, did you try asking? Most people are like, no. Try asking. It'll change everything. Reply to reviews. So when you do get reviews, reply to them. You don't have to say anything like long-winded or anything like that. Just thanks, we appreciate your business. That's plenty. Replying to reviews is a ranking factor with SEO. Google sees that as engagement. Engagement is big, and it helps you out. Every single review that you get is a thumbs up ranking factor for SEO. The more you have, that's equivalent to backlinks. Google loves it. It shows that you're a relevant business. And if Google's going to refer you, then they want to know that they are referring the best one possible. The other thing, too, is negative reviews. I think I forgot to put that on here, but yes. A lot of people freak out about negative reviews, but negative reviews can be good as long as you don't get too many of them. So I was talking to someone the other day, and I think it was someone here, so obviously not the other day, maybe yesterday. And they were talking about how they went out to a restaurant, and they saw that the restaurant had like 200 5-star reviews and no negative reviews. And that was a red flag. It seemed fake, because it probably was. You can't make every single customer happy. You're always going to get negative reviews, and negative reviews can be good because it shows that it's real. Every single person in this room knows what it's like to have to deal with someone that's difficult. You're not always going to make everyone happy, and they're going to complain about it. It's the way that you respond to that negative review that's going to benefit you. So when they leave that review, you can respond to it publicly on Google. Do not start arguing with them. That's the worst thing you can do, and I see that a lot. But you just want to let them know, we're really sorry that happened to you. We'd love to talk to you about this more. Please reach out to us. That's it. That's all you need. It shows that you acknowledged it, you were professional about it, and you didn't just throw it away like it was nothing. So you just took a negative review that client left for you. Now that client did you a favor, because Google also sees that too. It sees that negative review, but it sees you're also engaging with it. That's a good business owner, and that's a trust builder. So make sure that you are responding to every single review you can, getting as many reviews as possible, email, text, etc. Whatever you need to do to get those are worth their weight in gold. And then 95% of people read online reviews before making a purchase. Strategy 2 is Google Business Profile. I'm assuming how many people here know what that is? Okay, so most people here I'd say know what that is. If you don't, Google Business Profile is free. You can set it up by going to google.business.com, and it's a directory listing technically, but it is also a huge part of your business. It's where your reviews go. It's where almost everything goes. Google Business Profile actually started off as a social media platform to compete with Facebook, and obviously that didn't work out. So they transitioned it to Google Business Profile, which was directly facing for businesses. So when you set it up, a lot of people will want to put on their website, like, oh, we want to list all the locations that we service. And it's like Google doesn't look at your website for that information anymore. They look at Google Business Profile. So if you want to come up in more areas, the first place you want to make sure that that's listed is going to be in your Google Business Profile. So there's a lot of things that I see that people are missing with Google Business Profile. And with Google, it's kind of like, if you only have your Google Business Profile like halfway filled out, kind of the issue with that is if someone's applying for a job at your company and they hand in a resume and it's half filled out, are you going to take them very serious? Probably not. And that's the same thing here. If your Google Business Profile is only halfway done, Google's not going to take you as serious. So you want to make sure that you use every single feature in there that you can, because it's there for a reason. Google does care about it. You can add products to Google Business Profile. You can add a service area. You can actually post weekly updates. There is actually a social aspect to Google Business Profile. These don't need to be big ones. You usually want them small, like 300 words or less. And most people won't ever see them, but that's not really the point. The point is you're interacting with Google, and Google is loving it. And then you want to upload photos. Photos are actually really important because photo search is like the number 4 search engine out there. Number 1 is Google. Number 2 is YouTube. I don't know what the third one is, but the fourth one is image search. So having images in there tagged with your name, dumpster size, etc., means you're going to come up for a lot more searches, not just text search. And that's something that's important too, is SEO isn't just about coming up at the top of Google anymore. There's a lot of different spots that you can come up now. You can come up for video, you can come up for image, you can come up for an FAQ section that's now in Google, you can come up for AI content, you can come up in the map pack. So there's all these different pieces of SEO and areas that you can come up for. So uploading at least 50 photos is super important. And make sure you're not just uploading photos of dumpsters. People want to see who you are. And this is true with your website too. And I see this all the time, is people have all these great photos of their trucks and their dumpsters, and there's not a human on their entire website. One of the biggest issues with that is trust is important. The second most visited page on most websites is the About Us page, because people want to see who you are. If your About Us page shows your team, a little bit about you, it builds immediate trust, and now they want to do business with you. If there's nothing there, or if there's just more pictures of dumpsters, there's no connection. So make sure when you're uploading photos, it's not just dumpsters, it's also you, your team, etc. Strategy 3 is going to be blogging. So something that has been true in SEO forever is content is king. Content has always been king. Google loves serving up content. That's really what it's doing. It's serving up information. So you want to give it information to serve up. And that is blogging. This is one of the things that most businesses do not do. It's easy to do, especially today with AI. You can do it very easily. It doesn't have to be this huge long-form content or anything like that. At the last company that I was at, we did blogging for beer. And what that meant was you would submit a blog post as a team, and it was, I think at that time there was probably about 100 of us at the company. You could submit a blog post to our marketing team, and they would posted on our website, and whoever's blog post did the best, got the most views, they got a 6-pack of beer of their choice. It was simple, but back then, having a good blog written cost $200, $300, $400. And instead, all we had to spend was for a 6-pack of beer. So our traffic at that site, bless you, was, at that time, we had one of our blog posts that brought in, I think it was about 25% of our traffic. So blogging is incredibly important. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. So dumpster sizes, local job stories, how it works or what to expect, and then recycling or local disposal tips. The reason why blogging is also important is because not only is content a ranking factor, when I was talking to you about how trust is really important with Google, getting all those thumbs up, that also comes from blogging. The more you blog, the more Google starts to see you as an authority in your industry. If you have a good blog that has quality information that people are reading, Google sees that, and they're like, this is an authority. We're going to rank them higher. Google ranks authority sites higher than any other site. And you become more trusted. You start to show up for more keywords. So blogging is extremely important to your business, and very easy to do. And like I said, you don't need to have a 2,000-word blog in order for it to be beneficial. It can be 300 words, 600 words. I'd recommend 500 or more at least, but it doesn't need to be too much more than that. And then you're also able to take that content and kind of use it in other places. You can post that to your social media. That's something I get a lot is people ask about, like, what do I post to my social media? What should I put on there? A link to your blog. Because that's 2 upvotes for the price of 1. Links from social media, again, are thumbs up. It's a backlink. The more of those you get, the more people interact with it, the more Google's going to love you. AI and SEO. So this is a tough one. After I talked to Joe yesterday, I thought a lot about this. Because there is a concept out there that I keep running across where people are saying AI SEO, where they think that AI can do SEO. And just to let you know, it can't. It's a common misconception. It would kind of be like me saying, like, if you don't want to hire drivers anymore because you're tired of paying them, so you're going to hire AI to do the driving, you would be like, Tim, that makes 0 sense. That's how much sense AI SEO means. SEO requires a lot of manual work. There's a reason why when you saw those prices earlier that it was so expensive, is because it's a lot of manual work. You have to search, you have to make connections, you have to get backlinks from really quality blogs and stuff like that. So there's a lot that has to be done manually that can't be done or automated with AI. But there are 4 things about AI that you can control. These are a little bit more complex, but I think as we get through them, you're going to see that it actually makes a lot of sense. So one of the things that's huge right now is EEAT. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's doing it for their websites. And it means experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. Having these on your site are extremely important. So on your blog, in order to have like experience and expertise, a lot of companies, you'll see them have that author box. That's the entire point of that, is to achieve EEAT. It lets them know that you're an authority. So mentioning years in business, getting reviews and reply to build trust with Google and customers, all of these things help you build trust. And everything goes back to trust. And that's kind of the important thing about EEAT, is really what it dials down to is how trustworthy is your business? Are you doing things that are trustworthy? When people see you, are you an authority in the industry? How big is your blog? Are you sharing information and are you helping people out, or are you just there to get them to rent the dumpster? Google looks at all of that stuff. And if you have content that engages the user, that educates the user, you become an authority. You become more trusted. And that's what EEAT is. So having those things, as you look at your website, does it show your experience? Does it show your expertise? Like very clearly calling it out. Are you trustworthy? Are you putting on there that, we have 250 five-star Google reviews? You want to make sure that you're calling all of that stuff out because AI scans your site and looks for those very specific things. If it's not there, it moves on. NLP, this one stands for natural language processing. So natural language processing is how we speak. It's just human talk versus AI. AI can be really long-winded, and it just loves making all sorts of stuff up, which is fine, but it has its place. So search engines use NLP to understand intent and context. So use natural conversation language, answer related questions inline or in FAQ sections, basically get to the point. You don't want to dive too far into it. So on the next slide, I'm going to give you an example of non-NLP versus NLP. So we'll come back to that one in just a minute so you can see more on that. But Rank Math plugin. So if you're on WordPress, Rank Math is an SEO plugin that can help you optimize your website. Now, a lot of people think that SEO plugins do SEO for you. They do not at all. SEO plugins are basically like training wheels. SEO and on-page optimization can be very complex. There's a lot that you have to do. H1 tags, title tags, meta descriptions, alt tags, schema, all of that stuff has to be done, and most people don't know how to do it. And that's not great. So Rank Math is a super popular plugin. There's Yoast, there's All-in-One. All of these plugins will help you not only optimize your site so that Google understands it, but also so that AI understands it. AI looks for certain schema, which is like pieces of code, that tell it this is an FAQ section. Otherwise, they don't always know that. So that lays it out for you so that AI knows how to read it and then it understands where to put it. And then proven SEO fundamentals. And honestly, this is the biggest one. In the last 20 years, last night when I was talking to Joe, he asked me, I don't want to know just about today. I want to know 5 years down the road, what's it going to look like? I was like, man, that one had me spinning because I don't know what it's going to look like. I remember when the internet first started, it was like AOL chat rooms. And you would just go into these weird AOL chat rooms and chat to random people that you didn't know at all. And I was 13 at the time. Your parents were like, that's awesome. You're talking to strangers online. We look at that now and you're like, absolutely not. Like, what was wrong with us? But at the time, we didn't know any better. And you're like, where is this going? And websites didn't exist. It was like, there was like 3 news sites and then it was just AOL. And none of us really understood where that was going. That rapidly progressed into where we're at today. So trying to figure out in 5 years where you want to be. I've been doing SEO for 20 years. And I can tell you that all the stuff that I'm sharing with you today really has never changed. There's different words for it like EEAT and NLP and all that sort of fun stuff. AI has been a part of SEO for 20 years. We've had AI tools that'll do stuff for us for a very long time. It's not really new. But Google's also fully aware of those tools and quickly shuts you down. But in the last 20 years, I would say the things that are the most important is being trustworthy, giving content that is helpful, and making sure that when someone's on your website, they're engaged with it. They're getting what they're looking for. When someone lands on your website, you have less than 2 seconds to convince them to stay, or they'll leave and they'll go to your competition. So making sure that you don't have a whole bunch of your entire biography on the very top of the first page is a good start. I see that a lot too. So what's going to happen in the next 5 years? Man, I don't know. There could be so much that's going to happen. But I do know in the last 20 years, Everything as far as SEO goes has really stayed the same. Backlinks are important, trust is important, quality content is important. You don't need the keyword stuff, that's not a thing anymore. Google doesn't really even scan for keywords that much. So when it comes down to it is, don't overthink it. For the most part, I would say most of you are probably doing it right. I would put a little bit of focus on reviews. If you have the ability to do some blog posting, I would do that. How often should you do it? However often you want to. If you're not doing it at all right now, then once a month is better than what you've been doing. NLP. So this is an example of NLP. And this is not just important with your website, but communication in general. Like when you're doing blogs, when you're doing all that stuff. So let's say someone types into Google, how much will fit in a 20-yard dumpster? So non-NLP content that Google will not grab is kind of old school SEO writing. So people going in and stuffing tons of keywords in there. It uses long-winded generic intros, prioritizes volume over clarity, and often answers the question late after a bunch of fluff. Now, I know we've all experienced this when you're like looking up a recipe, like you want to cook some lasagna. So you look up what's the recipe for lasagna. And you put that in, and you find the blog, and it's like, all right, perfect. And you go to it, and they start telling you about how they've been saving up for this trip to Italy for 20 years and how beautiful it was there. And you're like, I just want the recipe for lasagna. And you have to scroll all the way down to the bottom, and finally, there it is. That's non-NLP content. And that is so incredibly common. We hate it, Google hates it, and AI hates it. So don't do that stuff. So NLP optimized content is going to be focused, direct, and clear, leads with exact answer to the question. So how much will fit in a 20-yard dumpster? A 20-yard dumpster holds about 6 pickup trucks of debris. It's best for garage cleanouts, small remodels, or roofing jobs, period. That content right there, AI will grab all day long, and so will Google, because it's direct and to the point. Now, if after that content you want to dive into more stuff about your 20-yard dumpsters, that's totally fine. But you first want to answer the question on your site. If this is in your FAQ section, you want to make sure you answer the questions first. Something we also do on our blogs is, our blogs on average I think are about 1,500 words. And at the very top, we put in the key takeaways. At the very top of all of our blogs is key takeaways. And the entire purpose of that is actually for NLP. Because if we want to rank for the people also ask section in Google or for AI content, that's the section that they're going to pull from. Is at the very top of the blog, what is the point of this blog? What do we want you to know? What do we want you to take away? You can put it right at the top. And then you can go into the rest of your blog. And they're going to grab that information and use that within AI or search. So that's the example for you guys on NLP. I hope that made sense. I know some of that was high level, but at the end of the day, most of you are doing it right. I have seen a ton of dumpster websites. Small tweaks, small changes, but again, focus on reviews. Reviews are your gold mine. Reviews are the thing that will get you there. I have seen companies that have a domain authority of 2 outrank a company that has a domain authority of 40 simply because they have more reviews. When it comes to local businesses, that's what Google cares about. So this next one here, you guys can take a picture of, or we have the playbook that you guys are able to grab from Kelsey and them back there after this. But basically your SEO checklist. So on Google Business Profile, you want to make sure that you're adding products. Post updates weekly if you can. Upload 50 photos. Add an FAQ to your Google Business Profile. I forgot to say that one earlier. So there is a section in there where it's like a questions and answers section. Everyone thinks they have to wait for someone to ask a question before they can answer it. You can ask your own questions. So on our Google Business Profile, all our questions I think are asked by me or Matt and answered by us too. And the benefit of that is you're adding content to your Google Business Profile that is keyword rich. So you're now going to start ranking for all of that stuff too. Get more reviews, ask for reviews often, reply to every review, and then keep your hours updated. That's becoming a bigger and bigger deal for Google as they're seeing that people aren't fully engaged with their businesses. And if you get complaints that like you were closed or anything like that and it's not in alignment with your hours, they're starting to ding businesses for that. So just make sure that it's something you go in, check on once a week, once a month, whatever you need to do there.